Test, test. Okay, you guys probably can hear me now. Let's see. Sorry about the audio issue there. You jump over to the chat for a second and see what's going on. There we go. How's that? You got it? All right, good. Good, there we go. Sorry about that. I'm using a different computer for this, so you know there's just random little quirks that come up, which always seems to happen during a live show with me. It seems there'll be some kind of a glitch. What I was saying is that this originally I planned this to be a Patreon show, and I did one of these a year ago, and even during that show I only had maybe 4 or 5 people show up. It's pretty small, so the same thing may happen this time. I didn't get a lot of response, which is okay. I was just trying to say, hey man, I appreciate you guys. If you want to come on a live show, here's an option. But I also understand that this isn't for everybody. This kind of thing can freak people out sometimes, being on a live show. So that's okay. So what we'll do instead then, well, first I'll answer a question I saw somebody ask earlier. Will I ever do live shows non-Patreon for the people? Well, of course I will. I used to do a show called Catching Up with KJ. If you've never seen that, you should go check it out sometime. I got tons of them. And I was mainly doing those when I was out in Costa Rica. So a lot of stories in those, a lot of crazy things happen, in fact, though. Because what I would do is I'd be on a live chat like this. I'd take the link to my live show and I'd just drop it in the chat, and then anybody could come in. And it was really like rolling the dice. You could ask my moderators, Mia and Effie. I'm sure they remember those days. And we had, there's so many things, man. So many stories I could tell. But we had some pretty crazy nights, Anyway, yeah, I'm going to do that again, though, like probably within the week or so. I'm still trying to get a couple videos up. That's where I'm doing more broadcasts, but I want to get keep my videos rolling, but I've got a couple I've been tinkering with for weeks. So hopefully I can get those finished up in the next few days. But yeah, man, I'll go ahead and do one of those shows sometime soon. It'll be pretty crazy. What we'll do now is I'll just kind of hang out in the chat with you guys for a bit. Maybe this will be more of just kind of a live chat hangout. If you have any questions, anything you want to talk about, just go ahead and put in, I don't know, I guess write question. Even if you have something you want to share or something like that, just so we can see it and I could read it. And we'll just hang out like this, man. That'll be okay. No problem at all to my Patreons. Again, I just wanted to do this as an offer of goodwill, just to say thank you so much, because they're really supporting my work more than YouTube. Again, YouTube's gone bonkers. We know this. So I thank my Patreons very much. And I'll leave links below if you guys want to support the videos, work, website, all that stuff as well. But enough about that. Anything you want to talk about at all, please feel free to throw out a question, okay? And just write question first. And I think, hey, Nivik, oh man, sorry to hear about your situation. I'd read earlier chat there. So sorry to hear about your bad situation there, man. I hope things are getting better. I saw somebody ask, KG, are you a shill? Funny, I've never heard that question before. I had somebody else under one of my comment sections asking about that. Somebody said I'm just like Q, which I'm not even into that stuff, but they were like, oh, you're like Q. But as far as the shill stuff goes, that's, I've answered that for so many years. And I guess just what you have to do is use your logic, reason, common sense, your critical thinking, your spiritual discernment, on everybody and everything. I do it too. And if you still feel that I'm a shill or a bad guy or something, then just follow your instincts, I suppose. But I'm not. That's all I can tell you is I'm not. There are a few real people out here who've been doing this for a very long time. I mean, I've been really blessed to be able to do this stuff for like 12 years now, on and off YouTube. And I've survived a lot of the YouTube madness, though they are hitting the channel. I've shown you guys some screenshots of that, what they're doing on my social blade, taking away hundreds of thousands of views, bleeding subscribers. And it's not just me, it's just the whole system's broken. Just like Google, there's no reason to even use that search engine anymore. It's completely corrupted, So anyway, let's see here, scrolling on down, looking for any questions. Here's Julia Oledska asks, KJ, what do you think about Rachel Chandler, the handler from Jeffrey Epstein? Greetings from Germany. Hi, hey, Julia. Thanks for joining us. That's one that I have covered a little bit of some of the Epstein stuff on some of the news shows, if you will, the news shows. But just like I do with all big subjects, I always sit back and just wait for a few weeks, and I let everything start coming out. So I haven't even looked much into this. I don't know much about the characters involved. I showed one of his black books, I guess, got leaked online a while back, and there's a lot of names in there that are very interesting. But I don't really know much about that lady. But again, I'll be looking more into the Epstein thing over the next few weeks. I'm just waiting to see what happens, because every time there's an event, especially a bang bang event, anywhere in the world, uh, there's people who will jump on that stuff within the first, 5 minutes of it happening. This didn't happen. It's a hoax, or it's a this, or it was mind control, or whatever, And I'm not saying those aren't cases at times, but I just feel you have to sit back and wait and let the narrative play out the way the system wants it to. And then you can start connecting dots in other places. And, that's how you find stuff, I think. That's how you find the good stuff. But thanks for your question. Let's see here. Hi, everybody. Man, a lot of people in here tonight. Desert Trance, good to see you. Siobhan, I know I say that wrong, but great to see you. Tamara's here. Good to see you, Tamara. I think I saw... that's the only mod I've seen so far. Let's see. Still scrolling it down. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and update the chat. It goes pretty quick. All right, let's see here. I'm seeing a few questions. Okay. Thanks for your patience. We're just going to hang out, guys. Cool with you? Let's just hang out, man. It's Sunday night. Talk about whatever you want for a while. And as I said, I will be doing... I don't know if I'll do it tonight. Maybe we'll just go crazy here in a little while and I'll drop a link in. I'm not sure. I don't know if I have the heart for it tonight. It's always a little chaotic, but it's cool too, because we all get to hang out and chat. So like I said, I will do that again. I don't know about tonight, but we'll just kind of go through here for a bit and answer some questions and talk about anything you want to talk about. Cameron M says, KG, are you worried about YouTube banning you and booting you off soon? They're going by after all the truther channels. Hey, man, I'll tell you the same thing I tell everybody else. I think it's minor miracle sometimes I'm still around, but I literally pray about the YouTube channel all the time. I've been doing it forever. It's always a part of my prayers. Thank you for the YouTube channel, Lord. Please keep protecting it, et cetera, et cetera. And, we're still here, which is awesome. So it's really, I've given all the worry and concern to him, because if I just took it from a worldly perspective, I'd be a nervous wreck, because they have just decimated this whole website. They've screwed the whole thing up. They've got YouTube heroes looking at your stuff and tattling. You've got trolls that hate you, that try to get you in trouble anyway. They're removing channels, of course, demonetizing. They've taken us out of search engines. If you look up the scariest movie ever now, you used to see all my videos. Now you'll see a bunch of horror movie trailers. And I've even told you guys, you can go to Social Blade and then put in a YouTube channel name, and you can see actual statistics of everybody's channels, even what they make, even the money they make. You can see everything there. So you go to my Social Blade, you can look back in May, and they took over 230,000 views. Just took them from the channel, and not just about the money, but it was like hundreds of dollars. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, thanks, YouTube. They never explain. You never know where it went. I don't know if a video was removed, because I don't go through all my old videos. I just don't know, so you never know really what happened. So, like I said, even talking about it, I can feel the anxiety. So you can't worry about it, man. I just put everything in the Lord's hands and say, hey, first off, thank you, Lord, for the gifts you've given me, and for the platform, and for a great audience and an awesome community here. And, it's in your hands. So that's it. I know that's I'm rambling off a bit, but that's kind of how I look at it, Cameron. I don't worry about stuff like that. I really don't worry about much. I have this weird worry because my parents are still together and married. They just had their 40th wedding anniversary, and they're awesome people. I really love them. Sometimes I worry about them, passing on and stuff a little bit, but I don't know. I imagine that's something a lot of children do. They worry about their parents going away. I don't know. But that's it. I don't really worry about stuff in this world or in this life. I don't even worry about my health. I've had some hits lately on the health, but So it's all in his hands, man. Roy Fokker says, you ever have that shepherd's pie any once in a while? I'm guessing you mean like shepherd's pie. I make a mean shepherd's pie, actually. Do you remember that? I don't know. I guess you remember me talking about it. Yes, I still make shepherd's pie. I love it. I've changed up a bit of the ingredients, but what I do, it's corn, carrots, green beans, ground beef, cook all that up. Put all that together with a can of tomato soup and brown gravy powder. And then I mix all that up together, still cooking it, and I put it in a bowl with mashed potatoes over the top and Parmesan over the top of the mashed potatoes, and I bake that. So that's how I do KJ's famous shepherd's pie. I've been thinking about changing the channel to where it's just videos of me playing with chubs and then videos of me cooking. We'll see how that goes. YouTube would probably leave me alone then, I guess. Brian Martell asks, who's your favorite Golden Girl? Mine's Blanche. Hold on. Hey, Chubs. Okay, sorry. He does this from time to time. He'll start messing with stuff when I'm live. Again, he wants that attention. We understand that. Kind of a funny story about Golden Girls, the Golden Girls TV show, for those of you that didn't know. So, I worked out in Hollywood for many years. I worked in production and television. I worked on a show called Sheer Genius long time ago. And my job was called Talent Wrangler. So I'd worked my way up from just production, like running and getting coffee throughout the years there. And I was doing some pretty cool jobs. And this was a Talent Wrangler, which meant that I stayed the night with the contestants for 12 hours every day. So I stayed there from like 9 at night to 9 in the morning. And then somebody else would come in and take over the day shift with them and get them to the studio and keep an eye on them and stuff like that. So, and I did the graveyard on a lot of shows like that. I also did America's Best Dance Crew many years ago. I was the nighttime talent wrangler for that show. I could tell you many stories. Some crazy things happened there, and I was the one watching all the contestants. I mean, I wasn't watching them all the time, but I had my own spot in there. We were in a hotel. It was a whole floor we had basically with all of them there. And then one of the rooms we'd converted into an office and we left the door open. So that's kind of where we'd hang out. But anyway, on that show, on Sheer Genius, it was a haircutting competition. And, there's like 12 guys and 12 girls starting off, I believe it was, maybe 10 and 10. So I stayed with all the guys from 9 at night to 9 in the morning. And it turns out that every single one of them, except for one, was homosexual. One of the guys was bisexual. So, and it also turns out that I started learning a lot about gay culture, just being around these dudes every single night. And no, there was one guy that would get kind of handsy and stuff a lot, but he was always laughy and jokey about it. But I was like, dude, don't, man. I joke around, but still like, dude, I'll cut your throat, man. Don't do it, He never got too X-rated, but, he'd like pinch your butt or like try to tickle you. It's like, dude, don't, and he knew I didn't like it. But the other guys, everyone just, they didn't have their paws all over you or anything. But one of the things I learned being around these guys, well, there's another thing I learned is that every one of them had been sexually abused as children. That's another thing. I thought that was interesting. There was a big conversations that go on there every night. They were able to drink, stuff like that. So, next thing you know, we're having some deep combos up there. But it turns out that a lot of these fellas loved the Golden Girls. It was almost like a cult type hit TV show, I guess, with these guys. So, yeah, they watched a lot of Golden Girls. I never really got into it, though. But if I had to choose, Brian, I would probably say mine's Blanche, too. So still scrolling down here. Jody Moffitt, good to see you. Jody, is a lot of the names I recognize. You guys have been around here for a long time. Cameron says, hey, KJ, what's your thoughts about the weird power outage in New York City? I'm really watching that, man. The first thing I saw was the lights were out for 42 minutes, right? And 42 minutes in the movie Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is the name of God. Like 42, I believe, in Hitchhiker's Galaxy was the name of God. Am I right? It was 42. But I haven't really had a chance to look up 42. But anytime one of these kind of things happen, I immediately start thinking about the numbers. You know, are there numbers involved here? And what do they mean? Because sometimes they won't mean crap, but a lot of times they actually do. And when they do, you know, this kind of thing was on purpose. So I was going to look more into it. I'll probably talk more about it on the KJ's What Happened show after I get a chance to look more into it. But I also know that it's interesting, right? Because it happened on the anniversary of it happening many years ago, like what, 1927 or something. It happened. Same thing happened on the same day, or was it 77? I can't remember. Many years ago. So there's, you know, that immediately makes us think, could this be a coded message? The lights went out, wasn't it during the Super Bowl? And I can't remember if it was for 33 seconds or 33 minutes, but I'm pretty sure there was a 33 there. Again, this is the stuff I have to go back and look up and make sure. And I do believe that that's one of the ways that, you know, they can code messages out there. And perhaps, you know, there's a lot of things about New York, a lot of prophecies, a lot of dreams, visions, a lot of symbolism that leads us to New York City being attacked somehow. Perhaps a nuke, perhaps a tsunami after that nuke. We've seen a lot of this line up, right? So you've seen some of that here on the channel. So, you know, maybe that's some kind of a signal. I don't know, but I'm watching, and I'll look more into it over the next few days. Thanks for asking, Cameron. Charity, hi, Charity A. Charity A asks, what you think about the Area 51 headline? Man, I didn't know if it was just, I thought that might be a hoax too. You know, I wasn't sure. And I saw today, I guess the government came out and said that they're putting troops out there or something, or I don't know. I'm watching that one closely, though. I'm not really sure what to think. But you know, if it's all real and these guys are all real and the intentions are right, I think that's great. You know, I think it's interesting. Well, not about, like I said, to think they're just going to break into Area 51 and find out about aliens. That's why, to me, the whole thing seems, I don't know, like a hoax, or who knows? Maybe it's just another part of the conditioning and the predictive programming for the actual contact to come, or maybe for the illusion to come, the grand illusion they may create with, say, a Project Bluebeam. All right, still scrolling down here. Carolina Labor asks, I'd love to ask you about your views on mainstream Christian movies. Honestly, Carolina, I don't really watch them. I'm going to watch Unplanned. You know, I want to watch Unplanned. I just don't know where to go. I'll probably find it online, or maybe it'll be you can rent it or something like that. But otherwise, I usually don't get into them. You know, a lot of them feel weird to me. I've tried to watch some of the stuff in the past, but a lot of it has dogma behind it too, depending on which denomination's putting it out. They seem a little bit too religious to me, if that makes any sense, some of these things. Some of them feel like the Jesus they're talking about in these movies and TV shows is Lucifer, not the actual Jesus. That's just me. These are some of the impressions I kind of get when I watch some of that stuff. I'm not really sure how to trust it or not, you know? I'm sure there's some good ones out there. I have a feeling that Unplanned is one of those that's like a really good slap in the face to the beast system. It seems like it's a really good one, so I'll check that out sometime. Kara Gower says, what's up with Abramovic and Tesla? You know, that's one of Casey's things. In fact, he's been doing some Tesla videos and broadcasts over the last few days, so you should check out Enter the Stars. Check out Casey's channel, because he's been really digging into that lately. And still scrolling down here. Daniel Rudigliano says, or asks, what's your opinion on Romans 13? I'm sorry, man, I really don't know right off the top of my head. I'm definitely no Bible scholar, and so I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up, so I'm not sure. Sorry about that, sir. Il Roche says, question, what are your thoughts on personal interactions with light orbs and or parasitic relationships with one? Hey, Eel, that's a good question, man. You know, it's interesting with those orbs. I've shown a lot of examples of them, the bigger ones we see up in the skies. and they shapeshift and they turn into diamonds and they change colors, and typically they come in three. We always see them come in three, and I feel these are demonic interdimensionals. Some people think they're fallen angels. Perhaps the reason they always come in three is it's the unholy trinity, right? It's the whore, the beast, and the dragon. I don't know, or the Antichrist and the false prophet and the dragon, but perhaps that's part of it. But I do believe a lot of those are wicked entities. However, then, I've seen videos from typically from, how do I put it? Just like the true followers of Christ, like different people I'll see doing videos, just giving testimonies or talking about the Bible. I watch some of that stuff on my own, of course. And some of these people, you'll literally see little white orbs in their rooms and around their heads. And I mean, these people just, you feel them. You can feel the true light of Christ and then the Holy Spirit. These are truly good people. And in some of those people's videos, I've seen little bitty white orbs floating around them in their rooms and right around their heads. So, what is that, right? Are those also little demons, or, are those, I don't know, is that something from the heavenly realms? Something good, something positive, a good energy, a good angel or whatever, perhaps watching over these people. And then, of course, Satan mimics the Lord in every way. So perhaps that's why now we have these, of course, orbs up in the skies. They come to us in the form of light, but then we see their true shapes taking place and true other colors. So they're not quite like the little orbs. That's the way I've always kind of broke that down in my head, but I hope that helps. Oh, let's see here. But yeah, I've never had personal interactions with these things. I've seen, so-called UFOs and stuff like this a few times. I've had my own kind of experiences, but never met any of these entities. And, I saw the Hat Man when I was a little kid. I used to think it was a cowboy I was seeing, but I saw the Hat Man shadow man when I was a little kid. So I've dealt with some of that stuff. I've never seen it in years. Haven't felt dark energy in my rooms at night or, seen anything. And I feel blessed by that. I don't want to see those things. I know that stuff's out there. I don't need to see it. Let's see here. Michael Cameron says, are you going to have Casey on? How about some information about Castro's bastard son? I'm not sure, man. Oh, Casey, of course. I just had him on recently. I'll definitely have Casey on again. A lot of people really enjoyed that show. I appreciate it, guys. A lot of people have been asking to have Casey back. So yeah, we'll totally do that again. Castro's bastards. I know really nothing about that, man. I don't, these aren't things I really focus on a lot. Politics or political figures and stuff. So I'm not sure, but I'll have to look into it, Michael. Thanks, though. Captain Knight, KNIGHT Films, all capitals, several exclamation points, multiple question marks. This is serious. He says, question, bro. Do you keep Sabbath holy? I mean, I guess, that seems like one of those traps. I'm not really sure what you're trying to set me up for there. I feel I try to keep every day holy, even though I don't. I want to. I try to. I do talk to God every day. But I'm human, and I've been able to give a lot of things to the Lord and not deal with them anymore, if you will, repent, if you will, or whatever, of a lot. But there's also things, I still grapple with. There's things sometimes come back into your life. I mean, it's a constant battle, man, so I never pretend to be perfect. Neither am I a preacher, pastor, or priest, or anything like that. No Bible scholar. I keep my faith very, very simple because, as you know, just from the work I've done all these years, you can imagine what's bouncing around in this brain over here. So I've got a pretty active social life up in my brain with just everything. So for me, keeping my faith simple is the key. I really look at it like a child. I trust in Christ's sacrifice. I'm saved by his grace. It's not my works that are going to get me into heaven. Also, though, of course, faith without works is dead. So, we contend with that. And those don't necessarily counteract each other. It just means you should be showing this, living it, truly being a follower of Christ, not just claiming the name of Christian and then still, banging every broad you can get your paws on, or, sleeping with every man out there, or, robbing banks, killing people, doing bad things, typically. So let's see here. Still scrolling down. Jane Smith says, question, where are you now? Now. I don't want to give my exact location, but I'm in the Midwest, I'll say. Some people probably know where I'm at, but I'm somewhere in the Midwest currently. I've been here for 3 years. Ever since I came back from Central America, I've kind of felt trapped, to be honest with you, and I struggle with that because it's great to be around some of my family again and old friends. But it's almost like things can just be too comfortable, for me. That's one of the reasons I went to Central America. It's like I feel I need a challenge. I need more of kind of an adventure. I need new things to see and experience. I never wanted a cozy, comfy life necessarily. I want a life of experience, doing things, seeing things. So that's why I'm hoping that within a year, once I'm up in this lease here, maybe I can transfer over into an RV and just continue my work online. Maybe even open up another YouTube channel where we just talk about topics while I'm showing you stuff on the road. I could also go to all the weird places in America where there's always UFO sightings or things like that. I'd love to go to some of these places and film stuff, So that's kind of my dream right there. My goal is to get to that point and get out of the Midwest. Just get out of, being too comfortable. Now, again, I'm not saying, I don't mean everything's great, as far as, I don't know. I don't want comfortable to come off the wrong way. It's just, you know what I mean? Like you have, a basic, you get a roof over your head, you can eat, it's like, you can survive, but it's just too comfortable. I don't know, man. It's just the way my head works. But one of these days, I'm going to break out of here and I'm going to hit the road again. Let's see here. Still scrolling down. Slushy Deluxe says, what life goals do you still have? That's one of them, to elevate the work to a new level, go RV style. I could even go to places when things happen in America and film, like when there's events. If I'm close, maybe I can go check it out and get some footage, and we can talk about stuff. I'm doing good on my health and everything. So I've accomplished that over the last year. I've done really well, I have to say. I exercise every day. I eat basically a vegetarian now, except for some chicken I'll bring in, and every once in a while I'll go get a hamburger. You get that craving, but that's about it. But other life goals, well, with the censorship, we'll kind of see how this all plays out over the next year or so. But with all the censorship and everything else, I've been thinking about, maybe actually trying to go rent a convention center somewhere. I don't know how many of you would show up. I don't know if it'd be worth it. I don't know if it'd be a waste of time, but it's something I'd like to do. Maybe rent out a convention center somewhere, maybe 500 seats, and do live presentations, because there's a lot of stuff I can show in real life too. And it'd almost be easier in a classroomish type setting to do some of this and just go real deep on stuff. And just, I've got some ideas. I don't want to give everything away, but I thought, and with the face reveal, people ask what I look like, well, you'd know what I look like then. I would do like these live events, perhaps. Maybe that'll be part of my future, I've thought. I always want to continue growing. This is the stuff I love. I went to film school to be a science fiction horror writer, director, and then I woke up in Los Angeles to all this. And I suddenly, God showed me, you can talk about this stuff all the time because that's the world you're in. You're in a horror science fiction film. So that was kind of where I went from there. And now I get to make my little movies all the time. I get to do shows and talk about things I'm interested in. And we're all interested in together. And it's awesome, man. It's awesome. So while I'm here, and I'm still here, thank God I'm still here. I just want to keep growing in ways. I always want to elevate the work and keep growing. Go back to my channel if you never have and look at my very first video, and you'll see how far we've come. I think it's not to toot my own horn or anything, but beep, beep, I guess. So check that out. And we're going to keep scrolling down a little bit here. See what else we got. Desert Trance question, what new music or bands are you listening to now? Hey, great question, man. I'll throw you out a few bands I've been listening to. I listen to Spoon. I listen to anything from Robert Pollard, Pollard. He's a modern day, an amazing philosopher, artist, musician. Guided by Voices, huge fan of anything they've ever done. That's his band. Pixies, I love, of course. They have a new album coming out in August. Very excited about that. More Lesavy Fav, Lesavy Fav. They haven't done anything in a long time, but I always liked a lot of their stuff too. And trying to think what else I'm listening to a lot of. Well, I also like, I'm thinking here. I don't know. There's so many, I just switch up all the time, but that's some of it right there. That's some of the stuff right there I'm listening. Oh, Parquet Courts, Parquetcourts, Parquet Courts. Love that band. I'm a huge fan. Parquet Courts. Check them out. So that's some of it. Thanks for the question, man. Thanks for being a friend so long too, Desert Trance. You've been around here for a long time. Leonard asks, do you know Bob Larson? I know who he is. I know he just did the same guy I'm thinking of. He was on the Rogan Experience. He claims to have inside knowledge about the American government taking alien technology and then creating new technology out of it, etc. I've seen that. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like he's kind of a plant also. Maybe that's why he's out there talking about all this, just to, again, kind of prepare the public for some kind of contact. Today in the news, there was another country, and I can't remember which one it is. It'll be on my What Happened show. But another country is building a space force. Wait, is it Italy? Macron's behind it, and he's Italy, right? Prime Minister of Italy, I think. But anyway, I'm pretty sure it was Macron in the news today, and they're creating their own space force. So, this whole thing is really it's interesting to watch. Let's see here. Still scrolling down here. So YQA Free says, I'm not trying to spam, but I really wonder if there's any kind of geocentric cosmology that KJ considers as a viable reality opposed to standard cosmology. It's a great question. I don't even know how to answer that. I really wonder if there's any kind of geocentric cosmology that KJ considers as a viable reality opposed to standard cosmology. I mean, what you're making me think of is back in the days when I used to do a lot of psychedelics. I used to do a lot of psychedelics back in the day when I was a young man, a teenager in very early 20s, because I went to the military after that and didn't do any of that stuff for years. And on certain psychedelics, you can actually start seeing geometric patterns all around you. It's almost like you see the connective tissue of reality all around you. It's very strange. Some of you who've done some psychedelics know exactly what I'm talking about. I've been there too. I've been in that place as well. And, I don't know. I mean, if maybe that's our, if you will, geocentric reality, like when you do some of these psychedelics, it's kind of revealed to you in that way. I'm not telling you to go do it. I'm just saying some of you have done it. You know what I mean? I've seen that stuff as well. I don't know. That's about the best way I could answer that one, YQA. Hope that helps. I don't know if it did. Let's see. Levy Lou, thanks. Ethel Muggs, you mentioned about wanting to live in an RV. She says she's selling her house and converting a van. Good luck to you. Moderate Extremist says, question, are you and Jeff Supreme Lord Commander? And then he stopped off. You probably meant, are we ever going to do a show together? I'm thinking. I don't see why not. It's been a long time. I used to do a lot more shows with a lot of these guys, and just everything changed. Everything changed really out in Costa Rica after my accident. It changed everything. It changed because I was off YouTube for a while, and And then I wasn't feeling good for a long time. I mean, it took like over a year for that constant pain in the shoulder to go away. So, I just wasn't feeling good. I was living with my folks, recuperating after having to come back to America for the first several months, and just wasn't doing live shows or anything. So, yeah, I'm sure I will. I know Jeff's still out there he's still doing his videos and still working at it. And it'd be good to have him back on. It's been a long time. All right, let's see what else we got here. Scrolling down. WCMW and Fab says, all KJ does is headlines. How could he be a shill? Thanks, I think. Yeah, that's all he does. Yeah, he just sits around doing headlines, man. That's all he does. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the guy, but he just does headlines. That's all KJ does. Never seen his videos. Nivik says, any chance you can get a hold of Benny Wills? I think you could really help him, and he's a great guy. Hey, guess what, Nivik? No kidding. He's going to be on Tuesday. I haven't even posted it yet. Yes, we're thinking the same thing. Benny and I had talked not long ago, and yeah, he's going to come on Tuesday, and we're going to have a discussion. So I hope you guys will be there. That'll be another really good one. Now let's see here. James Campbell. He says, thanks for that, James. Says he likes the channel. Would love to talk about the new Stranger Things. Yeah, I put Stranger Things, some of it in my newest video, We're Living in the Upside Down. I put in several of my observations there. Not everything. We could probably do a live broadcast sometime and just do all the 3 seasons together and really cover everything, because they cover a lot of stuff in Stranger Things, Chief Cannonballs, the alien psyop stuff. Do you feel, in your opinion, this is the delusion Jesus told us about? Perhaps. Perhaps, yes. Absolutely could be. But again, what it's going to exactly look like, I'm never quite sure. Will it be real contact? Will it be Lord Maitreya? You've heard of Maitreya, right? Have you ever heard of Maitreya? Benjamin Krem died a while back. He was the guy that channeled Maitreya. But Maitreya is an interesting figure, so that might be what shows up. He looks a lot like the Jesus figure we've been given our whole lives, which isn't really what he looks like, of course. We don't exactly know. But we don't think it was that image we've been given. A lot of people think that's Constantine, I believe. Is that what that goes back to? So yeah, we'll see how that plays out, or will it be some, like a bunch of, they just did Spider-Man, the movie. I'm going to do a video on the symbolism in that too, just because I mean, it's filled with stuff and it's so obvious too. But even in the new Spider-Man Far From Home, they use this group of drones and artificial intelligence and all this to create monsters and destruction and things like that. So who knows? Maybe it could be something like that. Maybe that's what Project Blue Beam is going to morph into, is little drones with blue beams on them, and they can create some strange realities for us up in the skies, alien UFOs coming down or whatever. Question, Kanga Kong. Hey, Kang, another one. Good friend. Been a long time. Thanks for being here so long. Says, I've been wondering how your lady friend from Costa Rica ended up. Was she mad that you had to leave, or are you still friends? I don't talk to her anymore, but I heard of all things she became a police officer. So that's good. I could see her doing that too. And her family's from La Palma, which is the jungle out there. They literally had dirt floors and stuff. So I was glad to hear she had a good job like that, earned some good money. She was a little upset, yeah, but she understood after a while. It's like I kind of compartmentalize things. And I know it sounds vicious, but I kind of, like in a case like that, I shut a lot of people out from there that I was friends with, because I had to move so quick. When they gave me the $30,000 bill and said I couldn't get any aftercare, I had to get all these sutures out and staples out. That's why I came back to America. And since I'm a vet, the VA took care of all that stuff. So it was really quick. Everything was crazy. I was in a lot of pain. And, I just shut everything out. I left everything. There, even the motorcycle, everything. And, but we move on. And I tried explaining a couple times in the beginning, and then I just gave up, and then just eventually kind of ghosted everybody because I was focused on getting better. And, there you go. So it was a process for sure. But that's what I heard, is that she's become a police officer. So that's awesome. Christy K says, I think hacking the headlines is a shill. The only way I know that person, I don't like talking about other channels, but I was on a live chat one time, and that person was a moderator and started saying, they didn't even know I was there, I think. It started saying that KJ's a snake and putting up little snake emoticons or whatever, or emojis. And I was like, who is this person, first off? Secondly, what? But, that's why I tell y'all, I don't watch a lot of so-called truther channels or conspiracy channels or anything. I mean, I've got a few, but I watch a lot of mainstream stuff, and that's where I get my ideas of what's the narrative is out there, what's going on in the world. So that's one of the reasons why it's very vicious. You may remember a while back, Russian Vids and Zachary Hubbard teamed up and hacked my password to a lot of my social media. I've got a video about it here on my channel, and got everything, man. Got into my Skype, my Vimeo channel, my Twitter. They changed my Twitter name to 2 words. The first word is the F word. The second word is the N word plural. And they sent really disgusting messages to every single one of my contacts. I mean, it was weird, man. And it was all them, Jeff C., speaking to him, he even had a screenshot of Russian Vids admitting he did it. And I know Zach was involved as well. So, but these are your YouTube truthers, yay, hey, we're all a big team, right? Big family. So, things like that, you know what I mean? Like I said, I've had some really bad experiences with some of these other so-called truth channels. So I got burned, and I just, I've been basically a loner in this. However, I've got my friends. I love Nicholson, 1968. Used to do a lot of shows with him. Casey, of course. Jonathan Kleck, I'm a fan. I'm a friend as well. Jacob Israel. On Point Preparedness. Gons, of course. I mean, there's some in there, Sonny, Truth Never Sleeps. He's had some hits here from YouTube, and he's made it through, so there's some people out there that have been here for a long time that that I think I'm cool with these people, but it's just, it gets tricky, man. Like I said, the times of the trolling and all that slowed down. Maybe it's because I've probably blocked over 2,000 by now, but a lot of that slowed down, and maybe it's just because YouTube's become its own biggest troll. It's like even the trolls have to worry about YouTube taking their channels away now. So perhaps that's what happened. Anyway, again, I don't like, and if someone out there likes that channel and likes the person, go ahead, man. I'm not trying to start something. I'm not saying, I was just surprised someone that I don't even know is talking like that behind my back and saying that I'm a snake, that I'm the bad guy, Anyway, let's see. I'm still scrolling down. Charlie X says, KJ, are you a Christian? I call myself a follower of Christ. But yeah, you could say yes. You could say yes. Although even with that, I don't trust a lot of so-called Christians on YouTube. I've had some of those people make videos about you, so still scrolling down here. Let's see. All right, I answered some of those already. Hey, Tina, good to see you. Desert Trance asks, how's the heart and overall health? Honestly, it's great, man. I mean, like I said, I'm doing really good, and I didn't even realize I needed to lose as much weight as I did. I lost like a whole pant size. I didn't even know I had one to lose, and I did. And it's like, oh, okay, well, this is good, So like I said, I exercise every day, basically a vegetarian, and it's been good for me, after getting off the pharmaceuticals. That was a really rough patch when they had me on all that stuff. Still scrolling down. Moderate Extremist asking if we're still friends. Well, I haven't talked to him in a long time, but I think we're friends. We just haven't talked, a lot of these guys and gals I've been friends with on YouTube for a long time, I haven't spoke to in forever, but a lot of us, I think, are the same way too, where we just kind of get in our own worlds with this stuff and just, you're so focused on doing videos and shows and everything else and focusing on these things in the world you feel you need to show, that sometimes these other things fall to the wayside. That's the way it is with me. I can get real locked into what I do for just days on end, Still scrolling down. Let's see. Kylo's back, says, I'm not a shill. I guess he's talking about himself. He said, ask anything, and I did. Okay, no, thanks. I love all his work. Thank you. But lately, a lot of YouTubers I liked have taken money from sponsors and they changed. Well, I mean, I only had one sponsor in the past, Silver Botanicals, and those guys were amazing. They came at right after one of the other YouTube apocalypses where they knocked the money out, from underneath everybody, and all of a sudden I was hurting overnight. Next thing I know, without even mentioning it online or on the shows or anything, these guys are reaching out, and it was incredible. So we were partnered for quite a while. I didn't change, I don't think I changed at all. But I appreciated that, and our time came and went. And I haven't really been looking for anything like that since. I was able to kind of keep going there for a while. And then, of course, this new apocalypse came. Thank God for the Patreons and PayPal friends out there. And so that's kind of what that's been about. But you know what? I always struggle with that, man. People have asked me about merchandise and stuff like this, and I've thought about it. I'm still not sure. I may do it for like just a week, just for people who really want to have, a shirt. Maybe on the front, it'll say, what's the scariest movie ever made? On the back, it'll say you're living in it. Something like that. And then like the YouTube link or whatever. I don't know. But I've got some different ideas. I'm not sure. But I thought it might be cool, again, with all the censorship on YouTube. What if I sold T-shirts and I took all the funds and I used it to rent out one of these billboards out here where I live near an airport or near the airport, and it's highly trafficked. And I thought, maybe actually do a billboard and say something like, YouTube's censoring everything. Watch this channel while you can, or something like that. I don't know, just to get more advertising out there. But so I've had ideas. So I don't know. On one hand, I can't necessarily blame some people out there for looking for new ways of revenue if they want to continue their work. A lot of people are having to use sponsors and all that now, I believe. I mean, you can, you judge a tree by its fruit. You can tell the people who are in it just for the money, the true shills or whatever. And then there's people like myself who are real, who have gifts, I believe, and I'm doing the best I can to use them in this world and show the things I find, and I'm very grateful that people appreciate it and enjoy it. And, it's very humbling to have Patreon in the first place. It's not easy to ask. So it's really nice that the people are out there and they help. And so I'm one of those guys in that boat. It's like it really helps to have the people help keep you afloat, and you can just keep focusing on your work and doing shows and just growing, So I don't know, man. I don't know. So look, if someone's truly a shill inside or a wolf in sheep's clothing, maybe it won't even be the sponsors, but they'll show their true face sometime. I mean, it always happens, people can't hide forever, especially when you're doing stuff like this. You're out there in the public like this, you're talking to people live, you're doing videos, everything else, man. Eventually you'll start seeing their masks slide and you'll see the real wolf that resides within, so, but I don't necessarily take a knock on people if they have sponsors. Like I said, there's some people, to me, I know they're just in it for the money, but maybe I'm entertained by what they're saying. Maybe occasionally they get stuff right. I don't think much about it as long as the work's not suffering too much and it's not just clickbait or whatever. But I don't know, man. Like I said, that's my take. It's a different for people, because I don't know if you have a YouTube channel, but for people who haven't had YouTube with some success, and not just financially, but with numbers, and then the finances come along and all that as well. But if you haven't ever had that experience and known what it's like, it's very strange. It is. It's like, this is your job, in a way, but it's the way you approach it. I don't look at it like this is my job. I look at it like this is my art. This is my message to the world, not to sound too dramatic, but that's the way I see it. This is the way I serve the Lord. This is the best way I know how to do it, by using what I have, then showing you guys the things I find, trying to break some of the stuff apart that's happening, all the darkness, the deception. And so there you go. There's that. Still scrolling down here. Let's see. Somebody's saying something about why am I friends with Casey when he says evil on my friend Jonathan Kleck and all that. I mean, I've never heard of that. And honestly, even if he did, that's between those two guys. You know what I mean? Like, it's, I'm not in it. Call me Bennett. I ain't in it. I've never heard Casey do that, so I don't even really know what you're talking about. But, hey, we're all human. Again, we're not all perfect over here. People have opinions. People have differences. I've always had different friends that may not get along with other friends. I'm sure you have too. So, Mark Ahumada. Hexagons all over the place, especially in advertisements. What's your take on this, KJ? Thanks, man. Well, I cover those a lot, man. Again, in my newest video, I showed more hexagons in the apartments.com commercial, the apartments.com logos, the upside down star. It's another pentagram. Remember the Republicans flipped the stars on the elephant like 10 years ago? Like 8 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago, I'm guessing. Maybe it was a decade, but why are the stars upside down, right? It has a different meaning. Interesting, huh? The hexagons, it's just more of the manifestation of the beast system. I always say, like the veil's really lifting. The truth is coming out on everything. And, we're literally seeing almost like it's, in my mind, it's almost cross-dimensional. And that's why we're seeing more and more UFOs, so-called UFOs, more of the light orbs in media and television and movies. The programming is becoming so obvious. The symbols, once you guys see them, whether I show you or somebody else, right, you see it everywhere. And, of course, the hexagons go back to Saturn. Saturn is Satan, another representation of. There's also Saturnalia cults. A lot of this goes back to ancient Rome. They used to be called the city of Saturn. So look into some of this stuff. So yeah, Saturn worship, Satan worship. It's just another veiled reference, if you will. And that's why you're seeing more of it, because this stuff is manifesting even quicker before our very eyes, man. Like you're literally seeing our prison bars, the way I see it. When you see this, even though we're free through Christ, but you can literally see the prison bars of the world and of people's minds when you start seeing these symbols and these subliminal messages everywhere. Okay, so I just hit the update on accident. So sorry if I miss any questions, but I'm just strolling through. I wish I could show you guys the chat while we're doing this, but I don't know, like using this new computer, it gets weird and wonky. I'm just not going to deal with it for now. But so just thanks for your patience. I know you just got my logo to stare at, but hey, I appreciate it. We're just going to keep going through and hanging out and talking. If I missed your question, you may want to post them again every now and then and just see. Okay, please, and I appreciate it. Derek M's in the house. Good to see you, sir. What else we got? Still scrolling down. Here's Autumn Jones. How long did it take you to grow your channel and really reach a larger amount of people? Some people who followed my channel for a long time know that my channel's been suppressed. I was stuck at 315,000 subscribers for almost a year. Now I'm stuck around, I was on 467. I just crossed over to 468, but I was on 467 for probably the last 3 or 4 months. So that's what will happen is I'll hit these growth spurts where YouTube's not screwing with my channel very much, I guess. Somehow I get around the algorithm or whatever, and I'll get my actual subscribers in and everything else. My views are all stifled as well. I mean, I could barely get a video over 100,000 views anymore. Used to be everything I uploaded by the end of the day was 100,000, if not close, by the end of the 24 hours, the first day. And you guys remember those days, 2014, 2015, big time. 2016 is when it started to shift a little with YouTube starting a lot of their programs. And then it's just been kind of downhill ever since for all of us. So I know my channel's not as big as it should be. I should be well over 1 million subscribers now if YouTube didn't screw with it. My videos, I'm sure hundreds of thousands, millions of views like the ones a few years ago used to do. But like I said, they've jacked with everything, man. We're not getting an accurate count on any of this stuff anymore. But how did I get here? How long did it take? I started uploading in, I believe it was 2011. So I started uploading in 2011, 8 years ago. Over 8 years ago now, I think. So it was April 2011. And man, let me see, 2011, 2012, 2013, 20, it probably took me uploading not monetized. I did that for probably about 2 years. It was a good couple years. And then they offered me the program, partnership program. I took it. That was probably close to 2013. and 14, 15. It's hard to say, man. I mean, like I said, I would hit these growth spurts even after I got 100,000. It probably took 4 or 5 years to get to 100,000. Like it took 2011, 12, probably about 2014 or so, maybe around there. I had 100,000, maybe. Like I said, it's been real wonky, you know. It's been growth spurts, you know. Then you'd go 2 months with no growth. Then you'd go 3 months, you're at another 100,000 or whatever, or close to it. It's crazy, you know. So, like I said, it's really hard to tell your true growth on YouTube anymore. I'd almost tell people don't start a channel if you want to, you know, go somewhere else, go to BitChute or something like that. I don't know, man. We'll see. Maybe things will change. Maybe the government really will, you know, get these companies and whatever, regulate them. We'll see. And maybe that'll help. Maybe it'll make it worse. I'm not sure. All I know is we've got today. My channel's still here. Thank God for the Patreon, PayPal people out there that help support the work. And we're still able to do this, man. We can do live shows. I can make videos. I can still immerse myself in my work and find things that I think really matter, not just put up dumb videos. You know, look, there's an Illuminati symbol. You know, none of that. Just, you know, I can deep dig on everything, and I'm really blessed to do this. You know, this is what I love to do. So thanks again for those of you out there that support the channel, even through prayers, even through just watching, you know. So thank you all, man. I really, really like you guys a lot. I don't want to say love you because I have a hard time with that, but let's just say I really like you guys a lot. Still scrolling down here. I know, Drewski. I wish I could get Chubbs to meow. I told you, man, I could take this big meaty hand of mine and squeeze it around that little furry neck, and I know I could get a couple of mews out of him. I just don't think that would be fair to him because it'd be uncomfortable, and I don't think he'd like it. Mark Colley. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. He said he loved the show on the Denver airport and Hollywood Witches Rising. Thank you. Still scrolling down, guys. Any questions, please feel free to toss them in. I may have missed some because when this updates, it just bypasses everybody. So still scrolling on down some. Let's see what else we got. Here's one. Cameron M says, KJ, what are your thoughts on God's dome firmament barrier that he created above us? It talks all about God's dome in Genesis. Man, I'm being honest with you, Cameron. I'm just so not into any of that. I'm not into any of this stuff with, you know, flat earth and domes, and it's just not my thing. It's not my wheelhouse. You know, I know what I know. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm interested in, and I've never been into flat earth. I've talked about it in the past. I never wanted to make a video on the channel about it just because I know it does have a rabid following, though it's not all organic. I believe a lot of this was created. And I believe a large part, a lot of that flat earth stuff was part of a big psyop. And I showed that in a video back in 2015. It's still on my website where you can go to Google Trends and put in any word you want and look at any time space you want. And you'll see how different words trend. You know, like Madonna you could put in, or Gaga, Lady Gaga, if you want to do that. You find out the trends on these things. So you put in flat earth on Google Trends, and it's a flat subject, pun intended, until about October 2015, where it shoots straight up to the top. And then from there, ever since, boom, just flooding. You can see it started right there. So that's my take on a lot of the flat earth stuff. Now, is it real? I mean, who knows, man? You know, and also a couple companies one company just went public over the last few months, and they're offering space travel to civilians starting in 2020. So all of those questions, if we're still here, all of those questions will be answered, I believe, because we're moving towards that. You know, these governments are creating space forces. We have private companies already getting in early on space travel for civilians. I mean, this is where they seem to be moving. So I don't think it's going to be that. Think about it, man. Us, it's going to be like 30 grand, I think, starting off, or like 15. It's either 15 or 30. You can look it up. But you know how it is with everything. In so many years, in 10 years from now, you can probably get up there for maybe a couple grand or something. You know, who knows? So we'll see. But people will be going up there, and there'll be footage, and we'll maybe then we'll finally have the question answered. But I try not to be offensive because, again, some people that I really like, on YouTube, even some friends of mine are into some of that stuff. So, or they keep an open mind to it. You know what I mean? Let's see here. J Dubs says, "Thank you, man." He says he likes the content because I'm not being pretentious. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. All right, let's see. Any other questions, guys? I'm going to keep scrolling on down. Here's one from Taryn Ford. Hi, Taryn. Question. Hey, what's up? Joining chat late. Curious, when you were in the Coast Guard, did you see any crazy stuff, like anything paranormal? Also, would love to hear about your time working Fangoria. Yeah, the one paranormal thing, let me think back. So, Alaska. Well, I saw the Northern Lights. That wasn't paranormal. I was in Alaska the first 2 years. Second 2 years is where I didn't see it, but I saw something about it. Let me explain. So my second tour in the Coast Guard, well, my third tour was medic in a clinic for 4 years. So I saw people die. I saw 2 people die. One of them right in front of me. It was really crazy. You could feel it. We all talked about it later. You felt like the air get sucked out of the room. It was insane. But the paranormal thing. So my second unit was in Maui, Hawaii. It was a 9-man search and rescue detachment. We did law enforcement, carried 9mm, handcuffs, the whole thing. And we'd pull boats over and check them out, make sure they were within federal regulations, and also just checking for other stuff, right? And we were pretty lax on weed out there because it's Hawaii. Most of them were smoking weed out there back then. I'm sure they still are now. So we tried not to, just to keep the community cool. We didn't really screw with those guys too much if they were just locals having a joint or something, But what was interesting, so it's Maui, Hawaii, and I was in Ma'alaya Harbor. I'm sure there's still the unit out there if you wanted to look it up. And you keep a log, like a daily log of all activity, because we were right there on the water for a reason, like if there was an accident, we had a radio there and you could hear the people calling in, Mayday, Mayday, going down at approximately, whatever it is. And we jump in our little boat and go out there and help them out. So we're always getting calls every day, all day. You're getting different kinds of calls and stuff on the radio. So the guy that I was taking his place, his name was Bo. He wound up getting out of the Coast Guard in Maui, marrying a local girl, and still lives there to this day. And he also turned out to be my best friend while I was there. He's like the first guy I met, and we became best buds for like 2 years while I was out there. He's a great guy. So he's sitting there showing me the log. He's like, dude, you've got to see this. Shows me the logs from like a year or so earlier. And here's what happened. One night, they wound up getting almost 20 different calls throughout the night of people seeing lights moving as fast as cars, but they were under the water just outside the harbor, and they were going for miles and zipping around. And like I said, we had over 20 calls easy on that. All the people describing from different places of the island, seeing these white lights under the water, just off the beaches in Maui, shooting around like cars, and there were bunches of them at different times just coming and going. And I read it for myself and I loved it. I was like, even back then, I've always been into the weird stuff. So I was like, yeah, I needed to see this. This is good. But that would be the closest any kind of okay, wait. All right. So there's that. And then there's this other one. I'm going to feel dumb even talking about it. I don't even know if I should mention. I won't even mention this one, but something else happened. It was pretty weird out there. I guess I will now because I'm kind of into it. But I was thinking, like I said, okay, so I had a girlfriend out there for a while. Her name was Elena, and she was from the island. And a lot of crazy stuff about her dad. Her dad was ex-CIA. Back then I wasn't a big conspiracy guy, but I mean, he was a hippie when I met him. But we'd go through his old books. He showed us this stuff, and they were black and white photos, clean cut CIA guy. And he didn't talk a lot about stuff. I wasn't so, aware and awake to stuff back then. So I didn't really have any of the right questions to ask him, but that's not the paranormal thing. So her mother was real hippy dippy, kind of a hippie lady too. And they were all into, all the new age, chakras, spirit, all that kind of stuff. The whole family was. Even Elena was. But one night, one night we were outside of my place. I was in a house with two other guys. We had a house, Coast Guard paid for it, and 3, bedrooms. So I was out in the porch with her, and she'd been telling me she'd been feeling a spirit or something really dark and heavy around her a lot, and even back then I was a Christian, she knew I wasn't into all the new agey hippy dippy stuff. And she was real serious about it. Like, she was about to start crying, and she'd said she'd been holding it back from me, but something had been messing with her for about a week, feeling the presence in her room, a darkness around her, a sadness, and all this other stuff. And she said she really felt this thing was around her. So I grabbed her hands on the back porch and started praying. And we surfed out there. I learned how to surf in Hawaii. And I had a 10-foot surfboard. I called it a rhino chaser. We had a 10-foot surfboard leaning against the house right next to the table we're sitting in. As I'm holding her hands and we're praying, that surfboard starts spinning on its axis. So it's leaning against the house. The bottom is against the ground at an angle, right? Like a 45-degree angle. And there's a leash on it. You have a leash on a surfboard to wrap around your ankle so you don't lose the board every time you wipe out. So this board starts spinning around in circles right next to us. It just started a little slow, and then it just starts going regular. It's like steady. And we both look over at it, and immediately we're both thinking, is it the wind or something like that? And there's hardly any wind, right? I've never seen wind do that anyway to a surfboard like that. But it wasn't the wind. And she was like, see, I told you. So we just grabbed hands tighter, started praying more. And that board was spinning so quick at one point that leash was bouncing around on the ground like an electrical wire that got cut. It's just bouncing around, and eventually the board just stopped. And that was pretty intense. Man, that was a long time ago. But I was always trying to get her more into Jesus and, the Lord God and all that even back then. I'm no preacher again, but, she was a hippy dippy, new agey type girl, but I was crazy about her. She had one of the sweetest, kindest spirits about her. She just didn't know Christ or any of that, right? So those would be my paranormal stories from there. And the other question was about Fangoria. Okay, so I've told y'all before, as a child, I was raised on equal measures religion and the bloodiest, scariest horror films you could ever see in your life. My dad always had a knack, like I have a knack now for films and music and stuff, but he always had a knack for just culty, weird, bloody, crazy horror films. It was just and science fiction. He's a Trekkie. He's into all that stuff too. And as a kid, and like I said, church going, Christian, every Sunday, right? But so I was raised on that kind of stuff. John Carpenter, anything from him. I mean, I was just raised on all that. So I was always into it. And I went to film school. I got my degree in screenwriting and my minors in editing. And right after that, I moved up to New York and I stayed with my cousin. I was up there it was just under a year. But I was up there in New York staying with my cousin, and I wound up getting an internship at Fangoria. Fangoria, they're more well known for their magazines, and that's another thing I grew up on was Fangoria magazines. They always had some gross picture on the front, and it was always talking about horror movies and monsters and all that stuff, right? So I used to love Fangoria. So when I found that Fangoria internship and I got it, I was like, yes. I mean, this is what I went and did before I moved to Los Angeles. So I did Fangoria. It was really cool. I mean, I got to meet a lot of people, but it was in rooms. It wasn't like I was one-on-one with them, but Rob Zombie, Dee Snider, he did some horror films. He's the singer from Twisted Sister. A lot of other horror names I won't even mention that because most of you won't know a lot of these people, but just there's always people in and out of the office. We did like a ghost hunting thing at the prison in Pennsylvania for Al Capone, where he died. So there's a lot of activity there. We did a lot of cool stuff like that. I also went and did some work. They were friends with Lloyd Kaufman, who does like Toxic Avenger, movies like that. Sergeant Kabuki Man, Surf Nazis Must Die. Lloyd Kaufman's got his company. I can't remember the name of the company off the top of my head. You guys might, if you can put it in the chat. And just, what is it, man? Lloyd Kaufman. Anyway, look up Toxic Avenger. He was well known for exploitation films, real low budget, blood and boobs type exploitation type movies or whatever. So Fangoria did some work with them every now and then. And one time I got to go over there, and me and another guy had to do, we shot and filmed the casting session for the characters of a movie called Poultrygeist. Poultrygeist, I think it is. Poultrygeist. Yeah, classic cinema, of course. I remember one of the characters, the hero's name was Paco Bell. He was a Mexican guy, of course. So these movies were also very politically correct, or politically incorrect as well. Lloyd Kaufman. So I did a lot of stuff like that. Just it was cool, man. And I was in New York City. I was all over the place. I was in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, is where I stayed. So I really enjoyed it. But by the time I was done there, I was really ready to roll, because I do like silence and privacy, and it's just you don't get a lot of that living in New York City. We were stacked on top of each other. There's like 4 people living in the place we were in, and it was super small. So there you go. There's some of that. Thanks for asking, Taryn. Let's see what else we got here. Scrolling on down. Oh, let's see. What else? Hey, Pandora's here. Good to see you, Pandora. Effie's here. How y'all doing? Any other questions? Any other subjects y'all want to talk about? Let's see. The billboard, John James asks how much the billboard is. The one I'm looking at, 1,600. So I'd have to sell a lot of T-shirts, but it's the perfect location. It's one of the most highest trafficked areas over here. And, but you can get them for less. I found some for like around 1,000 or 800. I could shop around. I don't have to get that one, the ultimate, but I just think it'd be cool to just actually advertise your YouTube channel on a billboard. Since YouTube's being such a wiener about hiding our work and suppressing us, why not just advertise on a billboard? So we'll see. At least I may do that, Still scrolling down here. Here's, let's see. You already asked that one, answered that one. Okay, I'm going to shoot down quite a bit. Let's see here. Koisbo, you're right. Chubbs is the real star. I'd have to figure out a way to do a Chubbs shirt. Get a picture of him on there. He would love that. He's such a narc. Such a narcissist. Let's see. 80s Baby's asking if I'm working on any alien deception videos. Not right now, man. I just did one a few weeks ago. Are you ready to worship your alien saviors? And I'm waiting on more stuff, but right now I'm focused. My newest 2, one's going to be on Spider-Man Far From Home, and the other one's going to be called We Are Literally Living in Idiocracy. And I'm going to show you some examples to prove my point. It is absolutely crazy, some of the stuff I've found, and real proof, too. Proof that people are truly being dumbed down at an accelerated rate right now. Thanks, Big Brummy Dave. Appreciate you, sir. Still going to scroll on down here a little bit. See if we got any other questions. As I said, sometimes I'll miss your question. If you'd asked one, I haven't answered it yet. So please feel free to put a few more or post your question again. Let's see. Still scrolling down. Any other questions? Thanks, Jacob Gandy. I appreciate you, man. Anybody else got a question? Just type the word question in first and bring up any topic you want to, okay? Still scrolling down, looking around. Like I said, I'll definitely do. It's crazy, man. None of my Patreons showed up, but that's okay. Again, I don't take it personally. I didn't see a lot of interest when I posted it on the Patreon in the first place. I get that a lot of people are private and they probably don't want to just come out here in public like this, and that's okay too. So, if you're listening, Patreon friends, thanks again, man. I appreciate you. Everybody else, though, I will be doing a show. I think maybe within a week we'll do one where I do a live chat, start off like this, and I'll put the link to join me here in the chat, and we'll just open it up, man, and just have a free-for-all, okay? And we'll see how that plays out. I've done it before, as I said. Sometimes it was totally chaotic, but I'll tell you this. Some of the best stories, man, come from you guys. I mean, I have people coming in telling true stories about crazy things that have happened to them, things they've seen. even their testimonies, beautiful testimonies doing that. So it could be a lot of fun. So we'll definitely do that again. Okay. Oh, let's see here. Jamie versus the world says, KJ, I want you to know I love your channel. Thank you. The videos I make. But he says he's going on 4 years now of doing chakra meditation, and it helps him with his disabilities. You know, I don't do chakra meditation. I meditate. Mine's laying in a room in total silence and just focusing on the Lord and just talking and staying open, asking questions and seeing if any words pop into my head. I know that sounds funny to some people, but I've seen that, like that's kind of how I feel things, how you get communicated to. That's my process. That's what I do for, a meditation, I guess you could say. The chakra thing, I believe, is a bit dangerous. I'm sure some of the people here may want to join in, but it'll be interesting to see, folks. What would you say about, or tell our friend here, Jamie, about the chakra meditation? Why could that be dangerous? There's a lot of different viewpoints on that. And we'll leave that open and let some people join in. And if this has been uploaded after it's been live, if you guys want to talk a bit about that as well, feel free. Okay. Now, I've always had the instinct that chakra is not a good thing for us to do. It's almost as if, I can't remember the serpentine chakra. There's some kind of emotion that people do, and they release a certain type of chakra that makes them just go bonkers. And I can't remember the name of it. I know you guys know it out there. Somebody can write it in the chat or down below. But it's interesting because the same thing happens with a lot of these people in these holy roller type churches, where they start, convulsing and freaking out, rolling on the floor, speaking in tongues, whatever. And they just go bonkers. And it's like, are they releasing that same certain type of chakra energy as well? I don't know. I guess whatever works, Jamie, but I'm hoping the people would join in and talk to you a little bit about that and why that could be dangerous. Okay. Still scrolling down here. Let's see. What do we got? Otis Firefly. Hey, Otis. KJ, I've got a question for you. Do you still believe that was a werewolf pic from 7 years ago? That's a great question, man. That's one of the very first videos I'd put up on the channel. And that was along with my Hell's Kitchen video too. I absolutely believe the Hell's Kitchen thing was real. The image that I got there. Look, here's what happened with that werewolf picture, okay? And this is the way it was delivered to me. So I had a guy out there in Austin that I was kind of friends with, okay? One might call him my weed man at the time. So I didn't see him all the time, but, he was always super cool. We actually went out fishing a couple times too. That was nice. That was the closest we ever got to kind of building a friendship. Usually I just saw him for short periods of time. One of the times we was out there fishing, he knew that I had a YouTube channel even back then talking about supernatural, paranormal, strange type stuff. So he immediately grabbed his phone. He goes, dude, you're going to love this. You got to check this out. And he opened it up and showed me the picture of two of his friends that had been hunting, and that's the thing they had got, right? That's whatever they shot or whatever. And he's holding it up in his hand. So I just got the picture from him. Like, that's how I made the video. And that's exactly how it's presented to me. And I was even asking about the guys. I was like, dude, are you sure they're not pranking you or whatever? He's like, man, these guys are too dumb to prank me. I'm telling you. I was like, really? So you really think that's it? He's like, man, I think so. And I was like, wow, that's really, really crazy. So, I guess on that, I've never seen anything that looks exactly like that thing. Is it a werewolf? I think in the video I asked, is this a werewolf ? Or something. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's a chupacabra. Maybe it's some kind of weird hybrid mix of animal or something. I'm not sure, man. But, yeah. And I'm sure I presented it the same way in the video. I'm not some hype guy, like, well, finally, werewolf exposed, or any of that kind of garbage. But yeah, I'm open to it. I'm open to the possibility of it. That's exactly how it was played out with me, how I learned about it. Okay, so it just updated again. I'm seeing some questions popping in. Let's see here. Question from Paula Hillier. What was your rank? I was a sergeant when I left. That's the E5, because it took me 4 years, almost 4 years, just to get my C school, which is, just to get my school to be a medic. So yeah, so it took like, it was like 3.5 or something, maybe a little less, but it took me over 3 years to get that medical school for the military. And then, yeah, so I went up, I was E4 coming out of that, and then I went up to E5 while I was a medic, and then I got out of the military. So E5 in the Coast Guard. Tina P says, I think you are leaving your spirit open to the dark side. My friend, I've been doing this for 12 years off and on YouTube, and I am protected through Christ. I am protected by the Lord God. I am protected through my Holy Spirit. I pray about this all the time, but the Lord didn't give me these particular kinds of gifts just to use for myself or throw away. And if he gives you something like that to use, you can bet your bottom dollar that he's going to be there to protect you. Does anybody still say bet your bottom dollar? Or is that just me? I'm going to bring that one back. I'm going to try. So I'm not worried about, quote, leaving my spirit open to darkness. I pray for the protection. I realize what I'm up against. I've still taken some big hits in the time I've been doing this. Motorcycle accident, major. Broke more bones than I've ever broken in my life. Scapula, clavicle, ribs. I was jacked up. Had a heart attack. It's another one. So, I see those as attacks from the enemy when some of this kind of stuff starts coming into your life. So it's not that I haven't taken my hits, and I've definitely felt spirits of oppression around me at times too. Again, you pray about it, you fight back the best way you know how through Christ. That's it. Always protected, always. Also, when you're in fear, think about it like this. Demons feed on fear. That's the way I see it. Demons feed on fear. They love it. It's like a golden country buffet or golden corral, all you can eat. They feed on it. They feed on it. They love fear. Why be fearful, first off? When you have the Lord, seriously, if you have Christ already, in my opinion, what's to be afraid of? All right? What? Don't be fearful. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Time and time again in the Bible, we're told, fear not, right? Time and time again, don't be afraid. Okay, still scrolling down. Tina says, chakra meditation can open you up to good and bad entities. The Kundalini, thank you. Thanks, guys. The Kundalini serpent, the Kundalini spirit. That's what I was looking for. Autumn Jones says, what books do you recommend? Anything from Fritz Springmeier? Definitely. Fritz Springmeier, anything from Tex Mars. Me personally, I love Ray Bradbury. So anything from Ray Bradbury and Kurt Vonnegut as well. Anything from Kurt Vonnegut. Some of it might be boring though for you. So be careful what you watch or what you read from him, but he's great. And as far as truth stuff, as far as truth stuff goes, Freeman Fly, he's got some cool books on weird stuff. Freeman Fly has got some interesting books there. Fritz Springmeier is my go-to though. He's kind of the man, he's literally worked with survivors of Illuminati torture and dealt with Illuminati families and all kinds of stuff. And he even spent a long time in jail, for everything he knows and everything he's trying to do. He's decoding, or he's deprogrammed people. This is a big deal. So, of course, Bill Cooper. Anything from Bill Cooper as well. How could I forget? William Cooper. Behold a Pale Horse was the first so-called conspiracy book that I ever read, and it just blew my mind. So there's another one, a good one. Those are off the top of my head. Okay, what else we got here? Still scrolling down here. Maritza Ramirez. I don't like getting into this, but I'll answer your question. She says, isn't the flat earth part of scripture? That's a big part of the issue. There's different interpretations of that. Again, I'm not into it because it is incredibly divisive. That's one of the most divisive. That is the most divisive topic I've ever seen in the so-called truth community, as it was and as it exists today. Definitely a huge divisive subject. So, Maybe in 5 years when it gets cheap enough, or 10, I'll get on one of those spacecrafts and fly up into space. We'll all see for ourselves. All right. Still Scotch. Pandora Quinn. Hey, Pandora, good to see you. Says chakra meditation opens your spirit to the unknown on a spiritual wavelength. I died before, so I know what's beyond now, and the only way is Jesus. I love that. Thanks for sharing. All right. Still going down. Limo Driver Mike says, questions only if you on KJ's Patreon channel. Now, that's kind of a wiener thing to say. That's not true. Questions are open to everybody. As I said, I'm going to do a live show probably within a week or so where I open it up like this. I drop a link to the live show in the chat, and whoever wants to join in, come on in. I used to do it all the time on my Catching Up with KJ shows. So maybe that's something we need to bring back too, every now and then. Duke and Us says, Kratom, does it help? Absolutely. But the best one, I believe, is Bali. Bali. Bali Kratom is absolutely the best. And it does help. It helped a lot. I still take it. I take it every day. I take 4 every morning with my coffee. It's just how I've been doing it for a good year or so now. Still scrolling down. Cameron Cantu says, have you ever personally met or been in the presence of extra or interdimensional beings? I have not. I mean, I saw the shadow people as a little kid. I've seen a couple weird UFO type situations, but I've never, met a spirit or, been around one or anything like that, or any demons have never manifested around me or in front of me. And I don't want them to, like I don't need to see it. Okay. I don't need to see it. But no, I haven't. Thanks for asking though. Still scrolling down here, guys. Miss PF says, question for KJ. What do you think about Facebook requiring users to verify their identity with birth certificate, state, photo ID, or passport, etc., for them to continue accessing their own account? Man, I haven't encountered that myself. I don't like it. And it looks like Facebook, they just keep screwing up, and he keeps getting exposed for stealing data and all this other shady stuff he does. So I think Facebook, some of these other social media are in some trouble too, I believe. Things keep moving the way they are, man. People are getting sick of it. I won't even use Google as a search engine anymore. I just don't trust it that much. It's so broken and screwed up, So maybe that's going to be a good thing. Maybe we're going to see people really, leave these big platforms here soon and start finding other places, It's already happening on some levels. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't think that's cool. I don't want any private company having all that information, It's not cool. Courtney Ellison says, KJ, will you check into Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell? That's a TV show on Adult Swim. It's a comedy, I guess, about a guy in hell hanging out with a demon or the devil or something. But it says, will you check into Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell episode Stan the Man? I came across this on Adult Swim. Yeah, I guess I'll look that up. Stan the Man. I'll look that up sometime. I used to like a lot of stuff in Adult Swim, but it all got really dark. It's got that show, Pickles. It's really the demonic dog. A lot of just blatant, obvious, gross stuff. A lot of the satanic symbols in a lot of their shows, but they have had some shows I've really liked. 12-Ounce Mouse. You've heard of 12-Ounce Mouse? It's very bizarre, very strange, and most of you probably won't like it. You'll be like, what is this? Some of you may, but I liked 12-Ounce Mouse just for its kind of punk rock spirit. It just had a punk rock vibe about it that I liked. I appreciated that. I also loved Tim and Eric Awesome Show and their show Bedtime Stories. Big fan of that kind of comedy. I like very strange comedy. Like David Lynch, his movies, I really like his movies, because he's got one of the craziest senses of humor ever. Now, I'm not talking to him as a man because he's kind of weird himself. He's into a lot of this meditation stuff, and meditating for world peace. I think he's connected with the Maitreya stuff. I'll have to look that up. I'm not entirely sure, but I know he's into the same kind of meditation that Katy Perry's into. And I did a whole video on that and her session. It's over on my website, and it's all about mind control, about fragmenting her psyche, all this other crazy ass stuff. And I was like, what? But she's into all of this, and it's all connected with this certain kind of meditation she does. And I know Lynch does that too. Again, though, I love the arts. I love art. I see these works. I see God in the details, not always the devil. I see the gifts he's given people, the way that art can make you feel and move you. It can be beautiful. It can be an amazing thing. But, then again, as human beings having free will, you can be given all these beautiful God-given gifts, but then you have a free will to choose to use it in any way you see fit. So some people use it to program people, program others, program the world, put forth their own ideas. You feel me on that? I said, when I'm watching a movie or something, I'm not always just, where's the Illuminati symbol? Where's the this? I'm also seeing the beauty. I'm seeing good acting, good actresses, good actors, great writing, cinematography. So I'm rambling. I'm going to stop that. But I did used to like some things on Adult Swim, but it's just gotten really, really devilish, very obviously devilish. Some people keep asking about the people that are going to flood Area 51. I mentioned that at the very beginning. Let's see. And Miss Sazam says, you should do a show with just other channels. I used to do those all the time, too. That's all my Catching Up with KJ shows, man. I used to do that all the time. But the other problem is a lot of the channels there's not many channels left. But, I think it'd be cool to do one with Face Like the Sun, Mike from On Point Preparedness, Casey in there. There's also, it's getting the right people in too. It's like, because I have other friends that I know that wouldn't mix with others and stuff. There's some I couldn't bring in. We'll see. Maybe I will, but yeah, maybe I will do that. We can get a good group in there though. Let's see here. Maya Sinkosa says, thank you to Maya for watching so long. What do you think about Zecharia Sitchin's philosophies? Yeah, I think they're fallen angels. A lot of his stuff's been debunked as well. And they love Sitchin over on the Alien, or on the, what is it? The History Channel has Ancient Aliens. They love Sitchin. Always talking about it. Yeah, so I think he's part of it as well, whether he realized it or not, but pushing this agenda forward. And us knowing and believing these are actually demons and fallen angels in disguise. But they like to push it as if they're, Pleiadians or saviors coming to help us. Right? Still scrolling down a bit here. Let's see. Any other questions, guys? Jerome Matagalani says, how are you going to stop 5G over there? In Europe, they killed some high-level researchers mapping out the radiation dangers. Spoke to a survivor. Wow, that's heavy. Thanks for sharing, man. I wish you could make a video and tell that story. You don't have to show your face if you're concerned about that, but maybe you could tell us that in a video. That'd be interesting. And I sure don't know what they're going to do about 5G over here, how they're going to stop it. I mean, Trump's moving forward, He even said he wanted 6G, which again, I don't even know if he knows how bad this is. I would hope he doesn't, but yeah, so they're moving ahead. I did a video on it showing a lot of footage of these 5G towers. I think they're in Los Angeles and another spot, maybe Florida, and how they're literally killing the trees who are directly next to them. All the palm trees are dying and decaying. Everything else is fine, So I don't know, man. We'll see. A person named KJ is asking me, what church denomination? I don't do denominations. What church denomination do you attend for Mass if you're non-denominational? I don't know. I'm not into the church system like that. I'm not into church. I was raised in it. Most of the time when I was in the military, wherever I lived, I was going to churches by myself, different types, just to learn and, see if I could find one that felt right. I was even in a bit of a cult in Maui, Hawaii there for a little while. I've mentioned that on other shows in the past. There was no brainwashing involved. I was always the one that was awake. I was like, why are these people falling for this? I was always wondering, but I was in there for a few months. So I've tried it all, man, as far as religions go. And I was on my own path back then. This is way before I started doing stuff online. And that's kind of where I finally learned it's more about my own relationship with the Lord through Jesus Christ. And I'm all for like small get-togethers if you want to have people over and house, the house or the apartment, and everybody read scripture together and talk. Like that's the way the apostles used to do it. I love that. I think that's great. But I just think church messes up a lot of things, causes a lot of problems. But that's my take. That being said, it's not like I hate church. And if I had children, I'd probably find a non-denominational, to bring them up in or something like that. At least give them the basics. My parents did that. I'm Church of Christ. I was raised Church of Christ, where everybody in that building thinks they're the only ones going to heaven. If you're not a Church of Christ, you go to hell. It's a drag, right? It's a bummer. So I don't like that, I don't know if they all think that now, but there's some generations over there that still do. So the older generations. So that's me. But like I said, I've got friends who go to church and family that goes to church, everything else. It's fine, but it's just I do my own thing. I have my own relationship with the Lord. I read scriptures on my own. I have my own kind of thing, but I'm also in that respect very, very much an introvert with my personality. So it works, Oh, Trauma Team. That's it. Trauma Team is Lloyd Kaufman Trauma Team. Derek Agaton said, did you see any nasty stuff around trauma, like James Gunn kind of stuff? No, I didn't even think about that. People would start thinking that. I was there middle of the day, and it's in New York City. It's in an office in New York City, and it's packed, around other little restaurants and offices. Have you ever been in New York? You know what I mean? It's just stuff stacked on top of each other. You go inside, middle of the day, we walked up a long stairwell, and then we were in the office. And in the office, it's plastered with all their movie posters, and there's all kinds of characters running around. It's mainly like, it was like hipsters, lots of hipsters working there. Movie posters from all their movies, lots of swag, like lots of characters like Toxic Avenger dolls and all that stuff. A lot of them had multiple, like they were, shipping them out or something. I don't know. It's just, stuff like that. But there were no, children running around with black eyes and bloody diapers. There was nothing like that. Okay. It's like, I didn't know about any pervs or nothing like that. I was just there for the afternoon shooting that stuff, filming. So that was it. That was my time with Trauma Team. I'm sure now we'll see KJ Ozborne Exposed video, worked with Lloyd Kaufman. You know what Kaufman stands for? He's a, JOO. I mean, we see that. There's that whole thing there on YouTube, the JOO stuff. But that was my experience there. So yeah, there was no dungeons with bloody pyramids or bloody pentagrams on the ground and chains. I didn't see anything like that. Still scrolling down here. Miss Sism feels like the truth community doesn't talk together on YouTube. We used to do it a lot more. Like I said, I tried, and I think it worked really well for the time. It was great, and we could probably do it again. Like I said, we can get some people together again and do some of that, but just not as much, because I think even my friends I like on here on YouTube and I respect and I feel they're real good, true people. I'm sure they feel the same way, like they've probably been burned by other YouTubers and channels and people making videos against them and all that. It's not, all puppy dogs and ice cream and Truthville on YouTube, not at all. That's why I stick with you guys, man. We just do our thing. We do our thing. That's it. So I'm still scrolling down here, guys, looking for any more questions. Hope y'all are cool with this, just to hang out and a chill. Let me know if you guys want to do more of these. But like I said, I think I'll do one here soon, within a week or so. Would you guys be down for that? I just dropped the link right here in the chat, and whoever wants to join in live, pop in. It gets crazy. It can get crazy. But as I said earlier, man, I met some of the coolest people. I mean, I love you guys, man. Seriously. I mean, I've got some of the coolest subscribers. We met all kinds of great people doing that with fantastic stories from all walks of life. professionals who make lots of money to the grandmother just, sitting at home watching the baby, watching the grandkids, We've seen it all there. So yeah, let's see here. Still scrolling down, looking for any more questions. Okay, it just updated, so I'm going to bounce back. And like I said, if I missed you, I'm sorry. All right, let's see here. Still scrolling down. Hood Famous. Hi, Hood Famous. Says, KJ, you ever considered visiting Thailand one day? I never have, but I want to visit Japan. I've got this thing about Japan. I know I'm going to visit there. I've seen Japan in my dreams. I'm definitely going to visit Japan. I don't know why. I don't know what the pulling of it is on me, but I'm just like, I'm getting excited just thinking about it right now. I'm going to go to Japan sometime. Like I said, I wish I could tell you why it means so much to me, but for a couple of years now, I think about it a lot. I'm going to do Japan, I'm going to go to Japan. Thailand, I've never really felt, I never felt like I wanted to go there. No offense. I just don't know much about Thailand, Now let's see, still scrolling down a bit. Thanks, Barbie Twin Mom. She says it's nice that you're doing this. I appreciate it. I used to do more of these. None of the Patreons showed up if you showed up late, and that's okay. Like I said, again, no knock on them. I get most people are regular folk, so to speak, in that they don't want to be on something live in front of, hundreds of people. So I get that. Let's see here. Sean Hartley, question, have you ever been to Kauai? I'm going there. I'm going to be living there this year. You, my friend, are incredibly lucky. I only went outside the perimeter of Kauai on a boat a few times. That's the only island I never went to. I went from Maui to all the other islands I visited, but I never made it out to Kauai except off the coast. We had a search and rescue out there. But man, you can't go wrong. Any island in Hawaii, you're going to be just fine. Good luck to you, sir. And I hope you're getting really excited. That's going to be incredible. So good luck. Denise says, I want to find your video where a man is filming orbs in the sky and you saw the thing walking on the ground. Oh, man, I can't remember which one that is. I'm sorry, Denise. It doesn't ring a bell. I'm sorry. Ron Lassiter, my friend, good to see you. Chandra E., good to see you too. See, and she goes to church and says it's awesome. So like I said, I know there's some good ones out there, guys, that exist. Still scrolling down, looking for any questions. Dream Junkie says, question, KJ, can we have a Bible study? I don't know. Maybe I'll do a special one like on my website, something like that, if you guys want to join that over there. But I've always, maybe, but again, I'm not much of a preacher, pastor, or priest. I'm not the best with recalling scriptures to mind, I know my gifts, I know what I'm good at, and I do it. You know what I mean? And with Bible studies and stuff, I've never wanted to do it here on this channel because that immediately creates an echo chamber. And, it's like, I don't want that. I'm not here for that. I'm here to wake up people who are still stuck in the world. That's why sometimes my videos can be disturbing and things like this. I get that. And I've got my own thing going here, but I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm doing it in a very different way. And I've been successful so far, I'll never do Bible studies and stuff like that on this channel, but I would do them, like I said, maybe on my website. I'd say something here on the channel if you want to show up there and we do one in the future or something, maybe. But right now, I'm just not feeling that. I feel I've got enough going on that I need to be doing. We talk a lot about our faith on these shows and stuff too, but I don't know. Again, no offense. You know what I mean? I just have to listen to how I'm led, and I'm not led for that necessarily right now. But if we're around to see the Antichrist unveiled and everything goes crazy and the shit really hits the fan, I mean, who really cares if I do a face reveal or not? By then, I'll probably just come right out to a face reveal and start straight up preaching or something, I mean, if we're here to see it at that level, we don't need any more of these videos exposing the darkness. It's been exposed as it's going to get by that point. So, if I hadn't done a face reveal for some reason before, then if we're still here for that, we're still around, still alive, still whatever, you can bet your bottom dollar. I knew I'd bring it back in somehow. You can bet your bottom dollar that I'll do a face reveal. And like I said, straight up, just start preaching probably at that point. That'll be the best thing we could do. you know. Still scrolling down here. Looking around for any questions. Luca Brasi says, KJ, are you familiar with Scientology and what are your thoughts on it? The first single girl I met when I moved to Los Angeles was a Scientologist and gave me one of those tests. I didn't know much about the stuff. So they give you a test, you know, and you take it home and then you come back and they look at the results. And I found out later, every time they see the results, there's something that could be improved on. And that's how they get you to come to the Scientology Center. So it's all a big sham. And I kind of learned about some of it through her. But that's about it. I've seen the Scientology Center, the big one in Los Angeles. I lived there for years. I used to drive by there, and it's just, you know, it's just another cult, man. It's like a straight up cult right in front of our face. I think it's probably more of a cover for, well, I don't know. Have you seen, there's been some exposés. There's an actress that came out, done a whole series on this. I can't remember her name, but there's a lady that came out, a famous actress who's been exposing all of the stuff with Scientology. My thing I've always wondered is there's connections with Freemasonry and Scientology as well, big time. But I've always wondered what if that's more of a cover up for like hardcore Satanism in Hollywood? What if that's really what some of these people are up to and doing, you know, behind the scenes, but on the front, it's this Scientology religion or whatever, you know, because L. Ron Hubbard had some very dark connections with some really creepy people. That would make for a great, I'll do that. I'll pull together a bunch of information on L. Ron Hubbard and some stuff on Scientology, and we'll do another broadcast soon and just talk about it and go through it together because there's so much there. It's very interesting. Still scrolling down. Let's see. All right. Okay, there's one. I'll answer a few more, guys, and we'll probably let it go here in a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see if there's some more questions. Here's one. Sean Hartlieb. Do you have advice for introverts like me and how to get people to realize one is an introvert? Nobody seems to understand me. Funny you mentioned that, Sean. I've been working, buddy. I've been working for you guys. I got some stuff coming out. I'm wanting to do a show on personality types within the next few weeks as well. I even thought it'd be cool if we do the personality test together live. Like I might even bring that up and you can bring it up on your own computer on a different window if you want to take it together or something. But it's really important. You know, I'm an INFP. I've taken the test multiple times in my life. It never meant as much to me until the last time I took it, which was just a few months back. I was INFP again, then I really started looking into it, and it's like even at my age now, I'm still getting revelations about myself. I know you guys are like that too, right? And it was just like, wow, why did I never pay attention to this in the first place? It explains everything, you know, especially like well, I won't get into all that. I'll just say that I see it happening in my life real time, all the time, these personality traits of an INFP. It's absolutely true with me. And I should have listened a long time ago. It would have helped me a lot. But so you may be an INFP or ENFP. I don't know, man, but it'd be good to go take that personality test, the 16 personalities or whatever personality test, and figure that out. It's an easy test to take. It's interesting. And, you know, give it a shot, Sean, and find out more about, you know, who you are and what being an introvert for you actually means. Because I've got I'm INFP, so I've got that introvert in me, and it's a big part of me. And it does come out sometimes, you know, like when I go out in public, especially when I'm around small bars with loud bands, I hate it. I can't stand it. It's really hard for me to be around that. Plus, just being out in general when it's loud, I want to talk. I want to connect. It's just the way I am. You know, if I go out somewhere with friends, I don't want to sit some dirty bar with some band playing their rendition of AC/DC or whatever it is they're doing and just blowing my eardrums out. It's just so nerve-wracking, you know. When I've been in situations like that, I'll go home and I won't even come out of my place for like 2 or 3 days sometimes. I just have to sit in here and charge, you know. But so we'll get more into it. That is a good topic. I think it'd help a lot of people to find out their own personality traits and you know, see how true it is and help you out. You know thyself. Still scrolling down a bit here, guys. Oh yeah, good one. The Matrix 28 said, "Question: I found you 5 years ago. Thank you. And the scariest thing I've seen is your vid on Oprah and the demon possessed. That is creepy. Brother, I agree. That's one of the best captures ever. Not to toot my own horn, I'm just saying that's one of the best captures I've ever had. And some copies came out later where, you don't see it anymore. So I don't know what they did. Maybe they edited something, but I had the original and I still have the best copy out there. But it was during the interview with, remember the interview with Tom Cruise when he was getting with Katie Holmes or whatever, and he got real excited and started jumping on her couch. He's like, I'm so in love, Oprah, I can't control it. And he's being crazy. And it was during that interview, there's a moment where for us 2 seconds, maybe, you get to see Oprah's, what I believe is her real face. And it is a ghoul. It's a ghoul. Okay, come on, KJ. It's just a day. No. It's one of the best out there, one of the best captures. I even have that video, Demon in Disguise. That's another really good capture. Also from the tsunami that happened in Japan several years ago, that's another one of the best, I believe, paranormal, supernatural events I've ever seen captured on film, of the dragon-like ghost thing popping out of the water, going up into a window, into a home, and then flying through the other window. I know you're saying, KJ, you're nuts. That never happened. You got to see it for yourself. So you can look that up. I don't know what you look up. Ghost, people called it ghost, Japanese tsunami, monster, Japanese tsunami. Look that up. You'll see. Oh, and again, when I put those up, I always get slammed. Those are the ones I get slammed for the worst. You idiot, you stupid, People hate that. They get mad about some of this paranormal and supernatural stuff. But when you find the good ones, it's golden, and you got to share that stuff. It's another way to wake people up to spiritual realities. We're also dealing with atheists, agnostics, people still stuck in the world. There's different tools we use, or I try to use, to wake them up. And some of it's that paranormal and supernatural stuff, Alrighty, let's see. Still looking. I don't really see someone, Bernard Evans. What are your thoughts on the POW MIA issued, World War II, Vietnam, etc.? Also, should we go to the oldest known Bible, Ethiopian Bible? See that stuff. No offense, man. Thanks for your question. I know nothing about the MIA, the POWs. I'm not sure what to think about that. And man, back to the Bible stuff. I mean, I think I've got a new international version, and I've also got a King James version. I've got a concordance with the Hebrew and Greek, which I highly suggest anybody out there, if you can read the Bible, get the concordance. But like I said, I'm not big into. I feel again, these are just. I get lost on that. You don't use the King James, or whatever. I keep my faith very simple in my view of God and Jesus and everything. Like a child, I really do. I try to. Still scrolling down here a bit. Looking for some questions. Let's see. All right, we may be winding it up here a little bit. Let's see. I just refreshed the chat. I'm going to do one more quick pass. Let's see. Still scrolling down. Abelardo Rodriguez says, KJ, have you seen the trailer for the new Benicio del Toro movie, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? I have. It's actually, that's Guillermo del Toro is the one that's producing that. Benicio's the actor. He was in Usual Suspects, among a lot of other things. He was a great character in that one. But I have seen the trailer for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I'm sure I'll watch it whenever it comes out and see if there's anything in there of interest. All right, what else we got here? Thanks, Karen Dean. Appreciate you. Guys, I think that might be about it. I think I've hit most of the questions. If I missed some, I'm sorry. But guys, I guess I'll go ahead and call it a night here. We've done about 2 hours. If you're joining us now, thanks so much, guys. This was originally intended to be a show for my Patreons, but nobody wanted to come on, I guess. So, and that's okay. I just wanted to offer it to them. I will do a live show here soon, like within a week or so. We'll see, where I'll just drop the link in the chat. And if you want to jump in, come on in. Okay. So we'll see how that plays out. I used to do a lot of those. Those can be fun and a little crazy. But even to my Patreon supporters and PayPal friends out there, thanks so much for supporting my work. YouTube's decimated most of us out here for now, at least. Hopefully we'll build it back, when it comes to that. But just thanks so much. I'll leave links below if you want to support the work. And God bless you guys, man. I'll do a quick little prayer here. Just say, Heavenly Father, thanks again for the fact my YouTube channel is still here. Lord, I pray about this every day, and thank you for the protection. Thanks for the wonderful audience. Thanks for the fact thanks for the fact that thanks to the fact we can all come together in a place like this. Now, come from different backgrounds, have different views, Lord, but still connect. And for those of you out there, for those people out there, Lord, that don't know you yet, Father, I hope that you'll speak to their heart, speak to their mind, and lead them to Christ. And there's so much madness and scariness and darkness in the world, Father. Please alleviate that from us, Father. Lift that off the people listening now, off of all of our shoulders, and help us all to feel that peace, Lord, and that grace, and to carry on in this crazy world. Lord, I love you again. Thanks so much. And in Jesus' name I pray, amen. Guys, take care of yourselves. I've got another show coming up on Tuesday with Benny Wills, and probably doing another catching up with KJ, or KJ's What Happened tomorrow night. And then, of course, I've got 2 videos coming up over this week, one on Spider-Man and one on the fact that we are living in idiocracy. Take care, man. Till next time, I'll see you.